Hello folks, welcome to drizzly wet Wales. We've got a new fast forward for you today. 2 years ago you might remember joining us on the launch of the current Focus ST. That was on lovely sun-drenched summery roads in the Côte d'Azur, and it was a great car. It was a car that had taken some pretty big jumps in lots of ways, had lots of technologies that were new to it, and it made a good first impression. But of course, the last 2 years in this particular class they've been quite busy. All the Volkswagen Group cars, from Audi S3 to Golf GTI via Cupra Leon and Skoda Octavia VRS, they're all new. There's a brand new BMW 128 Ti, and there are updated versions of the Hyundai i30N and the Renault Megane RS. Lots of opposition for this car, but 2 years ago we said it probably was about the best way you could spend 30-something thousand pounds on a daily drivable, full-sized, 5-door, front-driven hot hatchback. I think that's broadly still true. So if anything, I'd say this car's stock has probably risen in the last 2 years without it having to do anything at all. The car right at the top of the hot hatchback tree, the Honda Civic Type R, that's now out of production. So for this new Ford Focus ST Edition version, opportunity really does knock. This then is the new Ford Focus ST Edition. It only comes in this powdery shade of blue. You'll notice it from a different ST because it's got all sorts of black body parts, black roof, black spoiler, black mirror caps, black wheels. And if you look very closely, you'll see that the ST badges on the grille in the back, they're edged in quite a tasteful little black rim. Mechanically, it's the same as a regular ST, mostly. So it's got the same 2.3 litre 4-cylinder engine. It's got 276 horsepower, same power output, same torque output, same 6-speed manual gearbox. It's got the same electronically controlled limited slip diff as well, which isn't a diff, it's a separate drive override, but we covered that last time. So the difference with this Focus ST is that it comes with fully manually adjustable coilover suspension, proper trick suspension from KW Automotive. And you get this little toolkit in your boot under the floor, and it's got an adjustment spanner and a little knob in it. And if you get this car up off its wheels on a trolley jack, get the wheels off it, you can adjust the compression damping by, I think, 12 positions, the rebound damping by 16 positions, and the ride height by 20mm front and rear. Now that's quite a trick thing for a hot hatchback like this. There's not many cars that you can buy for sort of 35, high £30,000 where you can adjust the suspension quite that specifically and widely. And it's going to be quite an appealing thing for real enthusiast drivers, I think. It sort of feels excessively entertaining. You don't have to go through every corner at Mach 3 or drive it like your trousers are on fire to get anything out of it, because it wants to entertain you. It's fast on the steering, it's got good body control, it's responsive to inputs, it's nicely balanced, it's very fast forward, it rotates. That's what they do. So the chassis is really keen in it. It wants to get into a corner and show you what it can do. The suspension probably firms up the ride perceptibly by maybe 10 or 20%. Depends on the surface a bit. On a road like this, there's definitely a sense of greater tautness to the body control, and it feels a bit flatter and doesn't pitch quite as much as a regular ST. And there's real integrity to the body control. So when you hit a bump, the car just soaks it up, deals with it, and gets on with it. There's probably a little bit of firmness, a bit of edge about the low-speed ride. So when you're around town and you hit a drain cover or a bit of a crag or just a nasty edge, you feel the firmness in the car. It sort of bristles a little bit. But as soon as you get a bit of speed into the car, there is fluency, it works. It's a little bit surface sensitive. So again, if you find a really nasty open surface, this car will definitely vibrate and resonate through the pedals and through the seat. And the ride is a bit noisier than you'll find a regular ST is. And that's just a result of the extra firm springing. 50% higher on the springing will make a difference to that. But even now, this isn't an uncomfortable or particularly highly strung car to drive. It doesn't feel like that. It still feels like it just wants to be fun. It still feels like you can drive it along on a wet day, going not particularly fast, you get loads out of it. And then, of course, you can start fiddling. The one thing that Ford's suspension manual doesn't tell you is what the default damper settings are. So before I started twiddling with the knobs on the rebound and the compression, I think I would probably be sure to write down exactly what the factory settings were, just so I could go back to them if I wanted to. But of course, the adjustable suspension in this car means the factory setup really is just your departure point. It's your jumping off point for adjustment and fiddling. And if you wanted to, you could slam the car down 10 mil, another 10 mil on the suspension, and you might do that for a track day on a really big, wide, smooth circuit where you wanted the most amount of lateral grip. Or you might go up by 10 mil for a road like this, because it gives you a bit more suppleness in the suspension, a bit more wheel travel, a bit more dexterity. But it also means you could adjust the inclination of the car's roll axis. You could effectively angle it forwards or slightly backwards, and you might do that to adjust the natural balance of grip of the car. If you angle the car forwards, you're effectively putting a bit more of what they call roll understeer into it. So it will stabilise the car mid-corner. And in a corner like this, you might just get a bit less of the old characteristic Ford chuckability, lift off oversteer effectively. So you might do that for a track day. If you like that, you want to bring a bit more of that into the handling mix, you might maybe go down on the rear suspension but leave the front one where it is, and that would create a bit more roll oversteer. So as the car's rolling and turning in, the balance of grip naturally shifts towards the front of the car and the rear gets a little bit looser and you get a bit more change out the back axle. You can adjust this car how you want. That's the point. And that's before you even touch the damper settings. And the dampers are the easiest things to do. You know, everything else would be a wheels off job with a trolley jack. 12 settings for compression on all four corners. You've got 16 settings for adjustment of rebound. You could be fiddling with those for years to find the perfect combination for your particular favourite B-road or, you know, weekend test route. And I love the idea that you can just go and buy a £36,000 very ordinary hot hatchback on the face of it, but make it your own like that. Just adjust it and perfect the settings just for you. It's not something that many cars like this offer. It says a lot for it that even on a bumpy B road, on a wet Welsh mountainside, a car as specialised as this can still work really well, can still put a really big smile on your face.